Hello and welcome to Battle of the Christmas Movies between Lifetime and Hallmark. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Alright, Lifetime. First up is a sugar and spice holiday. Now this one has an Asian American woman who she does architect for a company. And she's coming home for the holiday and she's really into baking because she used to do a lot of baking with her grandmother, but her grandmother's passed on and she really misses her, so she ends up entering this contest to win money to save the community center, and it's a baking contest. So she teams up with an old friend that she actually had a crush on back then, but it turns out he got her in a lot of trouble, and since then her mum has forever disliked him and says stay away from her and stay away from him, you know, that sort of thing. He's no good, even though he's turned a new leaf and he's really helpful in the community and he's doing a better job not causing trouble. But you can see that there's still spark between them. There's a particular project she has to do because she's trying to get a promotion, and pretty much she's doing things with the guy. They're having a lot of fun, getting to, you know, rekindle what could have possibly been between them because it was a misunderstanding that happened back in high school, but they end up rekindling that once again. And with the bake-off, it wasn't going really well. She had a lot of stress between working on the project and then also trying to win this bake-off. So initially they end up being kicked off because, you know, it was a terrible job. There was an accident. Instead of using sugar, she used salt in one of the ingredients, and they lost. So this whole time she's thinking, oh gosh, I failed my grandmother and I failed, you know, she lost her project, so she thought that she didn't get the promotion, so she was just really overwhelmed about everything. But it turns out she did get the promotion, and one of the teams that actually made it to the final ended up getting disqualified because they bribed the children of the judges and stuff like that, and some of the children and the family members were judges, so some of them were bribed, so that caused one of the teams to be disqualified, and their team ends up being back in the game, and they end up pretty much winning because it was really cool. She did a gingerbread house, and she's an architect, and she said she used to love baking gingerbread houses with her grandmother, and that's what got her into architecture. So yeah, so it was great. She ended up doing that because it had a lot of sentimental and family oriented theme in the bake-off, so it was really great. But yeah, I completely loved it. I thought the mum was really funny, just some scenes, it was quite funny, especially her jabs at the guy that her daughter ends up, you know, falling in love with and everything like that. But I would say she was by far the funniest in it. The guy was funny too, but the mum, she was definitely a comic relief of the whole thing. Oh my gosh, it made me so hungry. I love Asian food, but I was like, oh my gosh, they've got dumplings, which I love. They had this noodle thing. I couldn't see it, but I was just hearing all about it because they had a restaurant, and part of it was that they should share some of their native cooking, and the mom was like, no, you know, Americans want a burger and stuff like that, but I think she eventually decides okay because she's got the spice, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I really wish I could have this. But anyways, so the daughter ends up getting the promotion, but it turns out the promotion is all the way in Australia, and now she's got this new love interest, and it's like, what are we gonna do? And he's like, well, I can't do a long distance relationship, and she looks really sad. But then she ends up being happy again because he says, so I guess I'm gonna have to go with you. So he ends up going with her to Australia, which is cool because he wants to work on his inventions, get back to what he was wanting to do with his future. and let go of the past and everything. But there was a particular incident when he wasn't quite ready to pursue his own interests because he had had a lot of failures back in LA when he was trying to accomplish, you know, like his business dealings and everything like that, his inventions. So he wasn't quite ready to pursue all of that. But she decides, well, I'm gonna push him and I'm gonna, you know, tell this great person about his great ideas and all that. And he got really mad at her because I'm like, well, yeah, you don't do that. You don't push someone. It's one thing to want to be helpful, but that person has to be ready to receive that help. And at the particular time, he wasn't. And I mean, all in all, her heart was good, and you know, in wanting to assist him, but in a way, it was kind of like trying to push him into what she believed he should be, instead of him realizing that for himself. So, but that was a little hiccup in their relationship. But eventually, like I said, he ended up going to Australia with her, which was pretty cool. I don't know. I'm not sure if I would go. I mean, if my job gave me like a promotion or something like that, and it happened to be in a whole nother like continent, I would be like, I mean, unless it's like somewhere I really want to go, so I wouldn't mind. But yeah, to be quite honest, I'd probably do it. I would do it. See how it is, you know, give it a shot, and then, you know, if I don't like it, we'll have to have a talk about it. But yeah, nonetheless, I think it's great. So that was a sugar and spice holiday. I really like that one. Quite funny. Also made me hungry, like I said. It's really good. Next up is Lone Star Christmas. This one also made me hungry. They had like some tamales, and have I tried tamales? I think I have tried tamales, but either way, just the mention of food makes me hungry. So, especially if it just sounds great. So it's about this woman. Her kids end up like not bullying her, but putting her in a corner so that she can go spend the holidays with her father, who she doesn't really have a close relationship to. He's not bad or anything. It was just that when she was younger, he worked a lot, so she never really got to spend enough quality time with him. He was always missing things that were important to her. So for her, he felt more like a stranger than her father, and she kind of always held that against him, so she wasn't really close to him in that sense. But she ends up going to spend Christmas with him along with her two girls. I have to say the children were quite lovely in this. I liked them. They were the most natural children. You know, like sometimes you get like some kids that you can tell, oh, okay, they're acting kind of a thing. But with these two kids, I just thought they were absolutely adorable, and they were just so cute. And you know, I really felt like genuine, like they weren't even acting, they were just being natural and all that. But I liked them. I thought they were funny, they were cute and all that stuff. So yeah, kids were adorable. Yeah, but she ends up spending this holiday, and it's really hard for her, like I said, because she's not really close to her father, but her children absolutely love him, and he's like really great with them, and she's like worried he might break their hearts or something. I'm sad, but she sees that, oh gosh, he seems like he's changed, and she's a bit jealous because she wished this was the father she had when she was younger. But she ends up liking this restaurant owner. He owns a Mexican restaurant, and I thought this was a bit interesting because it was almost like instant. I know you can be instantly attracted to someone, but I thought it was like, whoa, this is fast, where there was already like supposed to be sparks flying, but I suppose that happens. So they really like each other, so she's always inviting him to come spend some time with her family, and like, hey, would you like to do this? He's kind of a workaholic himself because he owns his own business, so, and that's all he's ever had. He was actually half Filipino and Mexican, so he kind of combines both cultures together in his restaurant. So that is like his form of remembering his parents, who both passed on. But yeah, so they have this thing going on. They really like each other. She's still kind of having a hard time forgiving her father for all the things he's done. Just not being there, because he didn't really do much. He just wasn't there. So yeah, so that really bothered her and everything. But all in all, I really did like this one. The only thing I would say is, okay, so I thought the conflict, I could already tell, okay, so the conflict would probably be with her father, in her not being able to fully forgive him, which that did occur, and she was gonna leave. But then there was also a conflict between the love interest and her, which was more like, he was saying, oh, I don't know if I would be ready for a wife and children, but then she gets mad. But even though that wasn't what he meant, and I was like, well, why couldn't he just say what he really meant at this particular time? But you know, it had to create the drama of it all, because later on he would explain it, what he really meant. But all in all, good movie. I did like it. Once again, like I said, made me hungry. But yeah, so that's Lifetime, and that was Lone Star Christmas. Alright, Hallmark. This one is called Christmas Comes Twice. This one has Tamira Mowry Housley, who I like, and I also like her sister Tia. So I pretty much watch anything with them in it, from, you know, sister. But yeah, this had Tamira in it, and she plays an astronomer who has been in this particular position for about 5 years, and she's realizing that, oh my gosh, she feels like she's just wasted so much time. She hasn't really accomplished what she was trying to accomplish, which was her own research. She ends up going back home for the holidays, and she makes a wish, wishing like she could redo, you know, the whole thing, and she never took the job. So, ding ding ding, like she ends up going back 5 years, like some mysterious Ferris wheel thing happens, and it's 5 years prior. And she's like, whoa, what's going on? So she decides, well, you know what, since I'm here, I'm gonna try and redo everything, make everything better. So she tries to go around, and it's like, there was this particular date she had with this one guy that was a complete disaster. She decides, okay, I'm gonna go on this date and I'll make sure it's not a complete disaster. But she ends up going on the date and still not liking it. It wasn't a complete disaster, but she ends up realizing she doesn't even like the guy, because all he thinks about is himself and his work and stuff. So that was that. So she ends up realizing, okay, no. And then she ends up meeting up with, initially she was trying to avoid her boss, who the person that gave her the job that she was sort of regretting that she took in the first place. So she's been avoiding him, but she ends up being cornered and having to meet up with him, and she's like doing her best to say, no, I don't want this job, no. But eventually she ends up taking the job again, because she realizes, well, if she hadn't taken it, a lot of the project that she was successful in creating and handling would not have happened if she was not in that position. So a lot of these different things kept occurring. There was a favorite teacher of hers that passed on, but this time she just tried to spend as much time with the teacher and make sure the teacher just relaxed and didn't have any stress. But either way, the teacher taught her, like, it's okay as long as you live a happy life and you do the things that you want to do, it's okay. So she accepts the fact that, you know, she's not going to be able to save that teacher's life. But yeah, so and then she ends up falling in love with a guy that she went to school with, that she was always, it was kind of like her rival. They were always competing against each other, like trying to one-up each other on everything. But it turns out that they actually have a lot in common, and they really do like each other. And she ends up falling in love with him, as he's always somewhat had a crush on her, and you know, but he ends up really falling in love with her. So all in all, it turns out that, you know, she couldn't really change anything, but she did realize something about herself and her feelings, and was more accepting of where she is, but, you know, took it more into her own hands to try to make some things happen for herself down the line. She ends up going back and saying to them, look, I've been at this job for 5 years, I'm ready for a bit of a change. So she decides she really did like teaching, so she's gonna spend half her time in DC with the department doing, you know, what she does, and then she's gonna spend the other time teaching in the school in her hometown. So yeah, so that was Christmas Comes Twice. I thought the chemistry was fantastic. The chemistry between all of them actually was really good. So I really enjoyed it. It was really great. I'd seen one with her last year in it too, so she did a great job in that one too. So yeah, all in all, I really enjoyed it. Oh, and the person that played the teacher, I think her name is like Ep13 something. I don't remember, but I recognize her voice. I know she was the stepmom in Moesha. I think her name is like Mo or something like that. But yeah, I recognize her voice. I believe it's her. And I've seen a couple other Christmas movies with her in it. So yeah, all in all, I will say what I've noticed this year, being legally blind, I have to say I have noticed, I like the fact that Lifetime says their names like beforehand. Like, oh, like starring this person. Not to say that's gonna dismay me from watching or want me to watch, which I won't lie. If it's someone I really do like, I will watch. But I noticed that Hallmark hasn't really been doing that this year. They used to do it. I'm not sure. They have a one-off chance. Like they sometimes do it, because I knew Lacey Chabert's on, and that was Christmas Waltz. She was in that. So they sometimes do it, but it's not as frequent or as consistent, I should say, as Lifetime, like each time. But I do know Hallmark does it, but it hasn't been as consistent, at least not that I've noticed. But I know they do it because I did know Lacey Chabert was in this one, and it was because they actually said it. But it's not like as frequent, as I said, as Lifetime. It's literally like each time they showed a little snippet, they were always saying their names and stuff. So that just helps, just a little side note. That does help. I could always look up the name of the I could always still look up the name of the movie. They do at least say the name of the movie, which helps a lot. So I could always look up the name of the movie and figure out all the cast and everything like that. But all in all, like I said, all great movies. Give them all 10s because I really liked it. Of course, my favorite is a mix between A Sugar and Spice Holiday and Christmas Comes Twice. But I'll probably say it's A Sugar and Spice Holiday just because I enjoyed I enjoyed hearing about the food and stuff like that. And the mum was really, really funny. But like I said, I did enjoy all of them, but I don't know, I do like the first one. But yes, I still very much like Christmas Comes Twice too, because it was really good. It's more heartfelt and all this like sentimental stuff going on, as well as pretty much all of them had that, to be quite honest. But yes, all in all, they were all great. All right, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.